IRL friends of social media influencers. What is it like? I know a wannabe influencer. She will reply to her own posts from her husband's account praising herself. Then she will reply to those posts as herself thanking him. It's hilarious, like Inception for Facebook. There's a neighborhood blogger and failed Republican politician in my city who does this on his blog comments and Facebook pages. But he makes up haters too. He frequently forgets to change accounts, so you'll see his admin account insulting him, and then another account will respond as him. It's actually hilarious to watch. It's annoying AF. One of my buddies is constantly filming everything we do and posting it. It's to the point where people walk up to me on the street and ask me about him because they've seen me in his posts. I have no idea who they are. It dominates everything he does and has severely impacted his personal relationships. He can't keep a GF, and it's clearly related to this obsession of his. He does occasionally get some cool stuff out of it though. After pretty much kicking him out of my life because I do not want to be continually posted online, we've come to the understanding that when he's about to take a pic or video, he hands me the phone so I'm not in the shot. Works okay for me. I've had the same experiences. It feels like being thrust into a job you didn't really sign up for. I dated one. Not super popular but followers in the 100k range last time we spoke. I remember a lot of getting ignored and only receiving nice gifts, acts of kindness when they could post about it, asking me to go to nice places they didn't drive, only to leave me on a bench somewhere while they took pictures. Huge strain on the relationship, especially when they started to get bigger and there was more demand for content. This is one of the reasons why I don't watch those charity acts of kindness videos. You know for a dang fact they only do it when the camera is rolling. She hasn't come to anything I've invited her to in 5 years because she only goes to events that further her business. Regularly says things like, "We're all using each other for something." Sometimes she texts me the same exact thing word for word over a couple of days. And it's obvious she just copy pastes the same thing and sends it to all of us and then forgets who she has sent it to. She still reaches out to me multiple times a year and claims I'm one of her best friends. But it sure doesn't feel like it. I've told her as much, but she just says this is my life now, my business comes first, and if you can't accept that, then I guess you're not a real friend. Friends with a high profile athlete who is pretty popular on Insta. He is always on the phone, never lives in the moment. If we are doing anything fun, well, it basically didn't happen unless the world knows about it. It's just annoying. I can't imagine living for the approval or satisfaction of others. This was my ex-GF. I couldn't eat before she took a dozen picture. We went hiking and had to turn around less than a mile, and since she spent an hour taking videos and posting photos, service connection wasn't good enough, so we went to the trailhead. She had to post or else people are going to think I'm broke or depressed and they need to know I'm traveling. She lived her life through her phone. I'm not sure if this counts as an influencer, but one of my close friends is a smallish music streamer on Twitch. If I said her username you probably wouldn't know her, but she's successful, popular enough to where she makes a comfortable living from streaming. She's been doing it for several years now and it hasn't changed her at all. If anything, she's more willing to pay for stuff when we all hang out because of her newfound disposable income. Yay for success. Sad. In the beginning they started because they got offers from brands because they were so popular on Instagram and it was a lot of fun for them. Now they don't ever post pictures or videos without a filter. Rarely ever like a picture on the first try, and don't you dare post any pictures of them without getting their approval for it. Imagine trying to get a group picture with all of your friends for your birthday but having you take almost 100 shots to get one that your influencer friend is happy with. Also, in the beginning I would like and comment on all of their posts, but now that's not enough. They expect me message it others, share it on my stories and my page. Something about new rhythms and likes not being important anymore. I hate posting stuff to my page, but I do it anyway to be supportive. It is so tiring. They do get free things sometimes though that they sometimes share with me. Not worth it, emo. My cousin is a wannabe influencer. She kept denying family photos at a birthday party, so her mom told to just not be in the pictures anymore. Lmao. Idiot got a reality check. Two of my distant cousins. They are sisters and are relatively well-known YouTubers. I remember the first time I met them. I was 9 years old and saw that one of them was fiddling with a program on her laptop. I asked her what it was, and she showed me her editing software. Thinking back, it was probably iMovie, and basically told me about how she records videos and posts them to YouTube, and that she had about 5,000 subscribers. She was really passionate and excited about it, and it seemed like she could go on and on for hours. I don't think she got paid a penny. I thought it was cool at the time but didn't think much of it. Just a hobby, I figured. Fast forward almost 10 years and she has nearly 9 million subscribers, lives in a beautiful house in LA, and makes more money than anyone else her age could dream of. Her sister graduated college, but she saw her success and fell into the same influencer trap as well, because that's where the money is. So they both influence full time and have a whole team of people to do editing, assistant work, PR, managing, etc. I would say the most obvious thing is that the first sister I talked about seems to have lost touch with reality, simply because she's been doing this for so long. She acts much younger than her age to get views and maintain relevancy, and she's gotten very used to living a privileged life. So much so that she frequently complains about how difficult her job is, when there is no doubt in my mind that, if it were to all disappear tomorrow, she'd be like a deer in headlights working something like a 9-5. Considering she doesn't even edit her own videos or set up her own camera, she has hardly a thing to complain about, especially sitting in front of your vlog camera and crying to the people who are watching your videos and essentially paying your bills about how stressful your job is. I mean, this girl literally has an assistant to fetch her coffee and salads, as if she has no time to do it herself. Maybe having an assistant is just an influencer or status thing to do. She lives a very spoon-fed life, and seems to frequently forget it. Fortunately, the college graduate sister is very down to earth, and even she seems to acknowledge the ridiculousness of the whole thing. But at the end of the day, they're doing very well and I will always wish them the best. I just find myself wondering how much longer it will last for them. Sorry for the long post. Hope it was an interesting read at least. This comment has like 10 different replies guessing which LA-based YouTube sisters OP might be describing. Kind of goes to show how generic and numerous these types of YouTubers are. I post travel photos and have about 200 followers. 200, not 2000 or higher. My friend somehow thought that was influencer status and decided to copy me, except she quit her job so she could travel more and grow her own brand. In 2020, she lost her apartment, her car, and still hasn't found a job, but calls herself a professional influencer all the same. That's so sad. I feel bad, but also your friend doesn't seem the brightest. A girl in my homeschool group in middle school was always bragging about how her parents had a YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers. She was really arrogant about it and I didn't enjoy spending time with her because she was a brat. The funny thing is nobody ever believed her, including myself, until one day I stumbled across a video of theirs while scrolling through YouTube. Sure enough, they had thousands of subscribers. She hadn't been lying and I was shocked. Now they have well over 1 million. They don't upload very often anymore though. Got a friend with 75k subscribers on YouTube in a language other than English. It used to be about their weekend getaways with nice drone shots. It was interesting then. Gradually became about their lives. How interesting is. She's get her phone camera out at sometimes random moments, which could get annoying. She got pregnant. Baby everything now. To be honest, it's really crap. I feel like I've been completely forgotten about and like I don't matter anymore. I think that's just some weird misguided jealousy, but it still hurts because I miss talking to my friend. Depending on how far down the narcissism hole you think your friend has gone versus how normal they still are, could be worthwhile having a chat about it or sending a brief text like, "Hey X, hope you're rocking your online life. I miss chilling like we used to and would love to hang out off the grid sometime. Lemme know if you're down. But I don't know, that could be too cringe." Exactly as fake and staged as you imagine it to be, the on-camera moments are completely non-genuine. It is in the end just an acting modeling job and not their real personality. Not an influencer as such, but I worked as an animator for an educational kids YouTube channel for a number of years. My boss was obsessed with views and subscriber count. A big part of one of my colleagues' jobs was spending hours trawling through all our competitors' videos and channels, putting all their views and subscriber counts into a massive spreadsheet. He also couldn't work out why none of his employees were as invested in the channel as he was and why we weren't all clamoring to do huge amounts of unpaid overtime in the name of furthering the channel's growth. When I got hired, the channel had just passed 1 to subs and 1B views, and both those numbers doubled by the time I left. This was a few years ago, before YouTube Kids was even a thing. But kids videos always get a huge amount of views. Last I heard, he had fired all of his remaining employees and was making unboxing videos alone in his house that get hardly any views. Spending hours trawling through all our competitors' videos and channels, putting all their views and subscriber counts into a massive spreadsheet. You could just make a script to do this. Would save a lot of time and money. She died. It's become popular to be disabled and post all about your medical issues. Her identity revolved around it. When she grew out of it, she needed a new medical issue to justify having a service dog and keep posting. So she made herself sick. How do I know? I have the medical issues she pretended to have, and she kept asking for advice. She got so upset after seeing my doctors at Mayo Clinic because the test showed she didn't have any of the conditions. She even emailed me the test results, so I know for a fact she faked. But she kept seeing different doctors until they would treat her anyway. She went to the ER frequently when nothing was wrong. Had to have those pics. She starved herself to get a feeding tube for a condition she didn't have. That's what killed her. Her intestines wrapped around the tube and she died before they could get her help. What always boggled my mind is that her so knew full well she was faking. He hated it, but he stayed with her and enabled her. You could see in the videos something was off with him, like he really didn't want to be part of it all. So yeah, turned her into an awful person. She needed mental health help and instead inadvertently killed herself trying to be as sick as possible for attention. Wow, this is the worst story of this thread by far. Honestly, she's really nice. She hosted a book club in a bar I worked at and would always order wine or pretty cocktails for photos. But once everyone left, she'd sit at the bar and shoot the crap with me while drinking yard beers. She sounds really down to earth. Good for her. My cousin is a moderately successful Instagram model and she absolutely hates it. She hates her fans, finds them all cringy and pathetic, hates the drama and how PC it all is. She's very conservative traditional, only does it because it's the only way she can make money. She dropped out of school and endorsing products and taking pictures of herself is the only way she knows how to pay rent. She's basically the complete opposite of the happy bubbly ditzy girl she plays online, and we often laugh over some of the messages she receives, including proposals and women angry that their sons' husbands are following her. I have a friend who has recently started trying to become one. It's so dumb. She posts half-naked pictures of herself with captions that have nothing to do with the picture. She spends hours getting ready for her iPhone photo shoots and has little time for anything besides content creation. Being an influencer is pretty much against everything I care about and stand for, so I envision us slowing drifting further apart. That crap's stupid. Picture in black underwear, full makeup, bending over in the mirror. Gotta take my dog to the vet today, guys. Awful. One of my best friends fell real hard into Instagram, and for a few years it was tolerable and understandable, albeit annoying and strange. Everything needed to be documented in specific ways, so lots and lots of photos, even if it took away from the moment. But the strange part was how, when she'd share things, the captions always told a slightly different story than what actually happened. Like just off enough for me and my other friends to say, huh, that has a weird quality to it. Fast forward a couple years, and she gets engaged. Boom. This was the catalyst for the worst of the influencer mentality to come out. I was in the bridal party, and it was a nightmare. No gratitude, just demands. Demands for expensive trips and expensive parties and all kinds of things that were above and beyond the means of her closest friends. And all the demands were because she had a following and had certain expectations to meet. It was really heart-wrenching to witness someone belittle their best friend and maid of honor for trying to plan a sweet bridal shower because it wasn't going to be at an expensive restaurant or art gallery. It reached its peak for me when, after the in-state wedding became an expensive destination wedding, there was the demand for an out-of-town bachelorette party a few weeks before. I was honest and said I couldn't afford the bachelorette. Mind you, I made about 1,000 sacrifices over those months to afford what I could, and was promptly bridezilled and told I ruined the whole experience and that I was an awful, fake, inauthentic person. It got so bad that the bridal party fractured and disintegrated. She lost 2 of her best friends. Myself and the mod didn't even attend the wedding after all her behavior and glow-ups, and we've barely spoken since. Also, she could have an Instagrammable wedding that would look good for the few photos she ended up sharing of it. And, true to the weird, strange rewritten reality ways she had, she published a public apology on her blog for her followers and family that completely distorted and rewrote what happened, painted herself as the victim, and got her the sympathy points she was looking for. PPL really lose themselves when they create an artifice for social media. I learned a lot from her. I went on a date with one and it was just frustrating. Pleasant enough girl, but she was on her phone a lot. I had sympathy since it's her job, but I felt ignored a lot of the time we were together. That sucks. I'm sorry. She is annoying. There's no other word to describe her. Feel sorry for her because she is a person that needs attention all the time. We are not friends but we live in the same house. My sister is an influencer and honestly, it hasn't changed her. Most people don't change if they're truly passionate for something. Most of time they're just happier. For my sister it was makeup, and now she's really happy. Those who change aren't doing something because it's what they want anymore. It's what the consumer wants. So just remember this. Don't let anyone change who you are. Great answer. I've driven 3 hours, hiked 1 hour. They took a couple of photos over about 5 minutes and then bitched that they were ready to go home. Sometimes they will buy unhealthy, but grammable food, take photos of them licking it, and then throwing it out. I also have a friend who when overseas will set alarms for like 3 AM to wake up and post their photos from the day at the peak time back home. I haven't seen them for a while. One of my close friends is getting a bit famous as a streamer YouTuber. Even when nobody watched him you could tell he had something in his personality and it is just so much fun to be around him. Now he is at the point where he just needs to reach more people and I'm sure that he is going to kill it in a few years. Also I appreciate that being known hasn't changed anything and when we hang out we do the exact same things we did before. Not a friend of an influencer, but I am an influencer I guess. I have 150k plus on YouTube. It was so much fun to start off with, but now all I feel is constant pressure. If I make one mistake, I could lose everything I've spent years building. I'm never sure whether new friends like me for me, or because they want clout. Even though my content is focused on true crime, and not me, having that many people watch you and comment on your appearance, the way you talk, etc. can really frick you up. Completely distorts your idea of self if you don't find ways to step back. Having non-social media friends really helps bring you back to earth, and trying to treat it was a typically 9-5. I sold my place to one a while ago. One of those newly green, sustainable, body, positivity types. Pretty much everything about what this person projects as her social media image is fake as it turned out. It was quite a sobering experience. I have a neighbor who is an influencer. She uses her kids and behind the scenes is nothing like the happy pictures. She screams at them to smile and on one occasion said I don't give a FK if you don't like the FKN juice. Just pretend and smile. It's all fake and I hate it. I think the children of family vloggers will have a lot to say about their families in a few years when they're old enough lol. I do wonder how these people will turn out when they get older. Granted most of them are older. The TikTok kids are all in their early to mid 20s and basically targeting teenage girls. So that's going to pretty much set them up for some serious trouble down the line. Had a friend who did YouTube videos and was pretty big in this niche community. It was fun for 10 seconds and then it was super cringy. I was so self-aware of everything I was doing, knowing I could be shared on YouTube. I got grumpy when she would pull out the camera so she wouldn't film me. Some of her fans used to like me and tell her to hang out with me, so she wanted us to do videos more but I would just avoid the topic. Eventually she had a fight with my best friend and stopped hanging out with us. Then there was drama of why she wasn't hanging out with us. It was so annoying. Thankfully I was a quick phase in her video career, so didn't lose much. Why is it so hard for YouTubers to just tell their audience so my friend doesn't want to be videoed and I respect them and their choices so as much as you guys would like to see us together on camera. It ain't going to happen and I hope that you all can't respect their wishes too and then move on with the vids. He was cool but at the same time difficult. Get him alone and he was okay, but go out places with him and he started unnecessary drama and was super emotional. I ended up not being friends with him after a convention we went to. He caused a lot of trouble for me and my friends. It sucked cause I was the one who intervened and allowed him to stay and all of my friends were super upset with him. So I felt like I allowed a lot of the issues. Hope he's doing okay though. My wife is an influencer in a particular niche. She's not a mega star, but has a solid following with a high engagement rate. She mostly sticks to Twitter and YouTube. She doesn't let it dominate our life and keeps her social media time confined to work hours. This took some learning, because we allowed it to bleed into our personal life at first, but calibrated for that work-home life balance. I have a job that pays well enough, so she is free to pursue this without the worry of will it pay the bills. This is very important as influencer profits can be wildly inconsistent. She makes roughly the equivalent of minimum wage plus we get a bunch of free stuff from some companies that we love. And we also regularly go to conventions for free and get to rub shoulders with some fairly famous people when we go. So, that's pretty cool. Pretty mundane, honestly. My friend is conventionally attractive. And if you look at her social media, you'd think she were a supermodel millionaire who goes on tons of trips. She's actually chronically unemployed and has an income of less than 10k. Her boyfriend makes about $60k, which is enough to afford them a very nice 1/2-bedroom apartment. And she has tons of props she uses to make each room look different from day to day, so it seems like she's always in a new, exotic place. They take 2 trips a year to fun, tropical places, in which she takes many photos and posts them as different places throughout the year. She's a very kind, considerate, sparkling personality, but whenever we hang out, I tend to be a shoulder to cry on as she laments about her lack of success in life. It's quite sad, honestly, but with her creativity and personality, I think she'll achieve her dreams eventually. So incredibly annoying. I actually ended up cutting her off because everything had to be a photo opportunity. We could never just go out to lunch or see a movie without it turning into a photoshoot. She never did anything with our friend group unless it was aesthetic, and even then, she was so focused on getting us to take photos that A, she didn't get to enjoy the activity, and B, it started bringing everyone else down because they couldn't participate either. And this sounds so petty, but she could never just show up in a t-shirt and leggings, because photos, obviously, like even sleepovers and movie nights had to be a big production, and sometimes you just need to stuff your face with popcorn and look like a slob. It's good for the soul. She'd also complain a lot about how hard her job was. Our friendship group at the time consisted of an EMT, 2 nurses, a teacher, and me who was juggling university, tutoring, and working retail. Well, I'm sure she had challenges and all jobs are hard sometimes. But, girl, you get paid to take selfies with free stuff and show up at events looking pretty. She'd also complain a lot about how hard her job was. It was probably so hard because of how obsessed she was with it. If she could have just kept private life and work separated, I'm sure it would be more doable. Guy I lived with does weed-oriented videos and has about 100k subs. Didn't even know until he mentioned it in passing one day. Big ups Joe. Worked for a channel with millions of YouTube subscribers for 10 months. The on-camera influencer was a pretty decent person and we made some good work together. I worked remote. There's not really any interesting tidbits other than I would check Twitter and Instagram to see what my boss was doing when I couldn't reach him. I was offered a chance to move where they were at and live with them but declined. I sometimes wish I went. I had a friend who was an influencer. I had the gall to ask her if she travels with a photographer or if she just asks whoever is nearby everywhere she goes. She was not impressed by that. Then she posts her umpteenth starting a new chapter in my career post and I commented that she's got more new chapters than Harry Potter. Again, she was not impressed with my wit, but her mom sure was. I know 2 relatively popular influencers for my region and the US. It's super strange when I'm in the posts knowing that 50k plus people who I don't know now know my Insta handle if I'm tagged. They also act very different online than in person. One of them is a fashion influencer and she is very shy and reserved in person, so it still boggles my mind she is trying so hard to get followers. Always complaining about the algorithm and talking to her audience like she has a celebrity status following but would be pretty shy in front of a room full of people. Just entertaining and weird. I've found that the people who seem most bubbly and oversharing on social media are usually pretty awkward and stuck to their phone eye roll. It's like a complete 180. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.